network opportunities that we have available. So in the simplest terms, you're connecting your flight simulator, you're connecting to a network, and you've got pilots and air traffic controllers who can see you in real time. And just like in the real world, you can see the pilot next to you, you see the engine start up, you see them taxi, you can follow them, you can speak with the air traffic controllers, they see you, you can hear them, and it's a very similar experience to what you can see in real life. And there's a whole bunch of forms that this takes, and so the basic one is, of course, the flying and controlling with ATC and pilots, but we've got a whole variety of other different options, people who like to do military flying, people who like to simulate glider operations. There's really communities that stretch from every possible interest. And for that reason, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about all of them. I just want to share the website fsxmultiplayer.com with you folks. Good one to write down, it's on the screen there behind me. And this website gives you a whole bunch of information about multiplayer. So if you're wondering about the why or the what, or even just a list of communities, you'll find all the communities that are up here on the panel with me and all the folks that are here today up on that website. And so you can get some more information about what is this online thing and how do I get started, where might I go about doing it. So for those of you who aren't familiar yet with online flying, highly recommend that website, fsxmultiplayer.com, to get some more information. Now, we've kind of done this already, but I'll just double check. How many of you would you say that you do the majority? So 50% or more of your flights are done online. Perfect. And how many in the room here would you say are either real world pilots or student pilots training, done some flight time? And who has no flight time? Okay, very good. Well, I will let the panelists introduce themselves here, talk a little bit about who they are, and then we'll get right into it. We're mostly starting with a couple of questions that we have prearranged between the 6 of us or 7 of us here, and then we'll definitely have a chance to get some questions from the audience. So start thinking now if you have some questions you'd like to share with these guys, and we'll just start down on the far end there with some introductions. Please, Bart.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Bart. I represent a company called FlightSim. Many of you have been by our cockpit. It's an affordable flight simulator. We were based in Indianapolis, in Indiana. I'm a commercially rated instrument pilot. However, flight simulation is my passion and therefore the company. And I'm an active pilot, aircraft owner, and I use flight simulation. And that's probably what I'm going to talk most today about, is how to complement your real world flying using the online flying and its flight simulation.
My name is Justin Friedland. I'm a defrocked vice president of FlightSim. It's a long story. And I am a virtual pilot. I have no time in a cockpit. I have a lot of time jumping out of airplanes, which I stopped as well because why jump out of a perfectly good airplane? But I am a dedicated virtual pilot. Flight simming is what I do when I'm bored. It's what I do when I'm not bored. It's what I do when I need to relax. It's what I do when I need to get excited. It spans the whole range of human experience and of human knowledge. It keeps you thinking. It helps you learn stuff. And I really want to see if we can convince those of you who have never flown online to get more active and to do it, and as well to be a controller. FlightSim is double-headed. It's for pilots and it's for controllers, and one always complements the other. You learn from both. So that is my plan. I've got some things here that I'm hoping we touch on. If we don't, I'm going to turn it in that direction, and then I'm going to turn it to Tom Gilmore from IVAO.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm Tom Gilmore from the
That's intentional. We just show you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, I guess I'll just.
I had to pay for that.
But I'm Tom Gilmore from IVAO, the International Virtual Aviation Organization. My compadre here, well, we're competitors and we also complement each other as an online network. I'm a real world pilot as well, but with my position in the network, I focus more so on training both for pilots and controllers. And one of the things that I'll be really trying to touch on as well as what we were talking about earlier is the ability to use online flying to complement real world experience and vice versa. as well as just a community and meeting good people, being able to come to events year after year and see their faces, and how it's not only just a good environment to experience at home, but also to be able to come to events and to travel and meet friends through the online forums.
Thanks, Tom. Of course, that was not intentional, but we've proven that even without a mic, you can still talk. So, over the years. My name is Evan. I'm with Boston Virtual Air GCC on VATSIM. I'm a commercial pilot in real life, and so as a result, I spend most of my online life in air traffic control. I'm a very active controller. I deal with a lot of air traffic control training, as well as just the provision of the services on the network. And absolutely, like the rest of these guys, a huge advocate of online aviation for flight training for pilots, whether they be student, rated, commercial, it doesn't even matter. And of course, for the flight simulation enthusiast who wants the most out of their setup.
Hey everyone, my name is Keith Smith. I'm the founder of Pilot Edge. First off, this is really exciting to see. I'm kind of surprised by the turnout, surprised by how many real-world pilots are here. I was under the impression there'd be more people who are here who are enthusiasts, and to see that there are so many real-world pilots who have realized the value of simulation for their own training is really uplifting, because that hasn't always been the case in the past. I think anyone who's made the leap and realized that simulation is a good step towards your pilot training, the next leap you need to realize is that flying online is really the only way to move your training to the next level. Case in point, I just did a flight from Lincoln Park, New Jersey to get here for this event. And had I flown that in the sim ahead of time without any ATC, the flight would have been 100% pointless. I would have shot an ILS, it would have been uneventful, and I wouldn't have learned anything from the flight. Most of the training value of the flight I just did half an hour ago was the interaction with ATC. It wasn't just standard back and forth being cleared for the ILS and getting vectors. There was a lot of negotiating involved. And when you first learn to talk on the radio, you think that you think that ATC is the voice of God, and you do exactly what they say. In fact, it's a very human-to-human dynamic. And the more you experience the system, the more you realize that it is a human-to-human dynamic. And flying online can be exactly that way as well. So it's not just a matter of learning to talk real good on the radio and then move on. You need to learn to work with ATC interactively, and you can absolutely do that online. Once you build that skill online, it translates virtually 100% into the real world. It doesn't matter which network you're using, whether it's VATSIM, IVAO, or Pilot Edge. There's room for all these networks, and I definitely encourage you, if you have not yet flown online, or if you've flown online and had a poor experience, do not write it off. There are ways to fix that. There's great training material. You can select your flights, maybe a little bit better your first flight to be more prepared, or maybe the controller you were working with was just having a bad day. But all those problems can be fixed, and then you can reap the rewards of flying online.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's John Pettit. I was a senior training captain in British Airways on 747-400s, which is what I finished up doing. I retired 15 years ago in 2 days' time. And basically, I got involved in VATSIM through my son, who happens to be in the gaming world. He works for Square Enix. It used to be IDOS, you know, Lara Croft and all the rest of it. But I'd like to ask you a question first. How many of you here play golf? Put up your hands. How many of you go and play golf on your own? Just on your own, nobody else there. Yeah. Which do you prefer? Playing golf with your buddies or playing golf on your own? Depends on your buddies, yeah? But it's like any game. I think it's like any sport, any hobby. Most of you will find that you actually prefer playing tennis with real people. You don't go and play tennis against a wall on your own. And I think the same thing applies to flying. The way I would put it in very simple terms is flying in virtual reality is the second best thing you can do without laughing. Yeah, it's as short as that.
I'm not sure how to follow up on that one. I find that's always hard for me. Hi everybody, I'm Dave Pasco. I'm the creator and operator of a little network called liveatc.net. I am about an 800-hour, almost commercially rated instrument pilot. Been flying in the real world for 15 years. and flying online for about 16 or 17 years, and I was an early member of the Boston Virtual, what's now the Boston Virtual ARTCC, and I was an instructor and a trainer there for a while, so I have hundreds, probably thousands of hours, I guess, of controlling time, and probably some thousands of hours of online flying time. And the one thing I can tell you is that, first of all, online flying in the VATSIM network specifically played a huge role in the beginning of liveatc.net. And it's a longer story than that, and it's not time or the place for it, but it is a phenomenal experience, and it's a single thing that I can point to when I'm flying the simulator, and especially when I'm flying online. When I go into the real world airplane, it feels like I never really left the airplane from last time. It's just, if you make the most of what resources are available on these online flying networks, and you apply yourself, just like anything else in life, you are going to do very well. You're going to be a safer pilot. You're going to not feel alienated in the national airspace system if you're making any use of the NAS, and you're just going to love it. The camaraderie that's on the network and the resources that are available to you for training are almost limitless. There's just a lot of resources, and many more resources out there than a lot of people have the time or the inclination to take advantage of. So we'll talk some more about that.
Thanks a lot, Dave. So we'll start with a very simple question, and starting with Tom from IVAO. Very simple question: why do you fly online?
Well, when it comes down to it, I enjoy interacting with people, and if it's in a learning environment, it's even better. So if you're able to do both at the same time, be able to connect, be in an environment where you can receive all the resources that you possibly need, especially if they're at no or very, very little cost, to be able to to better yourself, to make that one step from just flying